The Obama campaign's marketing strategy proved very successful, and he was elected to 2 terms. Then, in 2016, a man who had used his marketing expertise to build a worldwide brand and a billion-dollar financial empire decided to run for president.
What Trump was doing throughout this campaign was taking tools of consumer marketers and branders. They came out of the world of selling goods and services to people, and they decided to sell Donald Trump on the internet the same way that they were used to selling his hotels and his golf courses and his wines and his steaks.
The campaign's digital media director was an expert at it. I always wonder why people in politics act like this is so mystical. It's the same we use in commercial marketing. Parscale worked closely with a British data and marketing firm, Cambridge Analytica, which claimed it had taken the use of behavioral science in political campaigns to an entirely new level.
Cambridge Analytica's parent company had been involved in working for governments and working for candidates and working for military organizations around the world. I think Cambridge Analytica loved the idea that they were outsiders coming in and shaking up not just a new industry, but another country's politics.
So it could test out its theories on Americans, Cambridge Analytica got illegitimate access to the private data of more than 50 million Facebook users. But the Trump campaign insists it did not use that data. Instead, it used data it acquired by, for instance, sending out links to a video game app on Trump's Facebook page. While users played the game, the campaign collected their personal data from their devices. Then, the campaign did something revolutionary with all that data. Like Axiom does with consumers, they divided Facebook users into categories based on past behavior. Then, they used Facebook's ads auction feature to send out different cues to each category of potential Trump supporter.
And I went to Wall Street and I basically said, cut it out.
Then, as in any experiment, the campaign assessed the results. How many people in each category did things like click on the big blue like button on their Facebook page after being exposed to a cue?
One of the sort of wonders of Facebook is that it is cheap and fast to test lots of things at once. They just started pushing out reams of content on Facebook, videos, static images, and running all these simultaneous experiments let them see not just what types of content resonated most effectively with their supporters, but what types of supporters responded to certain types of content, and then roll that out to a larger audience.
The result? When Americans saw crowds chanting "lock her up" on the nightly news, and some commentators suggested that Trump was damaging his brand by appearing unpresidential, the candidate himself looked very confident it would be a hit. Why? Because the message had been tested and proven highly effective on Facebook before he ever rolled it out on national TV. As for the fights sparked by his controversial messages, the candidate realized they would be broadcast by the ratings-hungry media over and over, thereby encouraging his own supporters to fight back.
Knock the crap out of him, would you? Seriously. I will pay for the legal fees, I promise.
Donald Trump understood this. The way you get people to pay attention to you, to talk about you, is to say or do something outrageous, to pick a fight.
This is becoming violent. There is pushing and shoving going on inside this arena. People are throwing objects.
And so what you end up with is these groups of people that are driving themselves into a froth based on their pre-existing common emotions and campaigns that are feeding them the types of material that they already want.
Ignorance and immigrants, they mix together!
The country is falling apart right now.
Unbelievable! Thank you!
And remember what a powerful force loss aversion is in shaping human behavior? Well, it turns out that restoring a loss makes us feel much better than gaining the exact same thing.
The American dream is dead. But if I get elected president, I will bring it back bigger and better and stronger than ever before, and we will make America great again. Thank you. Thank you very much.
For those eager to return to the America of their childhood memories, it was a persuasive message.
I feel he's the last chance we have to establish law and order and preserve the culture I grew up in.
The Trump campaign also used Facebook to conduct experiments on Clinton voters. First, the campaign identified thousands of likely Clinton voters, such as African Americans, women, millennials. Then, it tested which anti-Clinton messages made them decide to not vote. Results in hand, the Trump campaign used a Facebook marketing feature called lookalike audiences to identify millions of Americans with similar user profiles and sent the messages to them. It was the most sophisticated voter suppression effort in American history. Trump also realized that Twitter enabled him to send one tweet after another to people he already knew were receptive to his messages. Like every other tactic, it was based on what the campaign had discovered about the psychology of its potential supporters.
I think that Trump had a remarkable sample for psychological study, which is, there was a country that was transfixed with him, and he had a base of supporters who were ready to respond to whatever triggers they were offered. And so the campaign took advantage of this, and they basically had a big lab of 100 million people out there who were, potential Trump enthusiasts, and they could see what made them give money, what made them come out to a rally, what made them share content online.